Welcome to another episode of She Plants a Vineyard podcast. I'm your host, Santana Withrow, and this podcast is presented by The Affinity Films. Today I have Amber Pursley, the owner of Calming Goat in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you. We actually met in Mexico with Jen's Mexico group.
Yes.
So
I wish we were there now.
yeah, not under bright lights in a tiny room.
right. By the beach.
Yeah, by the beach. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do and about your business?
I am Amber Pursley, as she said, and I own Calming Goat Coffee Co., which is in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. We've been open now as the Calming Goat since December 1st. And we were under a previous name before that, and we converted over to become an independent shop on December 1st, and it has been huge, and it has skyrocketed, and business is just on a really fast track right now with growth, which is really exciting. I am a mom and wife. My husband and I actually will celebrate 18 years of marriage on Monday, and we have 6 kids. And they're ranging from ages 9 to 16, so we are very busy people. But if I wasn't busy, I'd be depressed.
Yep, same. I had to stay busy. What were like the beginnings like for your business? So it started as you were working with a previous shop, and then you became independent. How was that process to become independent, and how has the beginnings been for you?
The beginning, of course, was just, I've always wanted a coffee shop. I mean, like, as long as Steve and I have been married, we made it a hobby that together that we would, anytime we would travel, we would find independent coffee shops. And so that's just been our thing. I mean, even if we're not, vacationing or anything like that, we will, drive an hour, more way just to seek out, and go and enjoy. So with that, I've always wanted a coffee shop for probably a good 15 years. And when we decided to relocate and move back to my hometown, I said this was our time to pursue that and open it up. So I went to another coffee shop owner and asked if they would be interested in guiding and helping us, and so they did, and it was the most stressful, scariest thing I've ever done in my life. And
just owning a business in general,
getting it started, and
you're putting a lot of like capital into something, and then you don't know if it's going to work.
Way more than
you
originally. Way more than originally was planned. Yeah. And thankfully we have very good supportive parents that helped us out with all those extras that we weren't expecting. But as many times as that I looked at Steve and said, we can't do this, just pushing through, and then getting to the point to where we decided to part ways and become independent so that we could put our creativity and our ideas into motion was, definitely a decision that was not taken lightly. It was months of build up to that. And once we made that decision and we did it, business has just exploded. I mean, I know we know our customer base, and we know what, we like, and feel, be able to use that creativity and putting yourself out there, is kind of scary. You have to be vulnerable, and hoping that people will like what you put out there, but so far so good. And it's fun. It really is fun. At the end of the day, it's fun, and as much stress that comes along with it, it's worth it.
Yeah, speaking of some of the creativity in your marketing especially, you make some pretty funny videos, and you guys do really well with your marketing, and that's one of the reasons why I want to interview you, because I'm a marketing company. So whenever I see a business doing marketing right, and they're doing it in the way that is authentic to them, it's not that, they're funny and that's the right way to do it. It's that you're being authentic to your personality, and that's why people like it. Right. So how do you come up with these ideas? Tell us a little bit about your creativity process.
So I am just a goofball by nature.
Yeah.
I don't take life serious at all. I mean, even probably when I should, I don't. I get through life through humor, and I was, my grandparents, like seriously, like anything serious, we turned it into laughter because that's life is heavy and life is hard, and laughing through those stressful times can definitely change your aspects. So I really do feel like the universe puts people in your path that are like you. And fortunately, my shop is full of people that are just as much as nut jobs as I am. So we have fun, and we get, you get a lot of inspiration and things like that and ideas from, seeing other videos and different
something
things
that went
like
viral or something, and everyone's doing
yes.
it type of thing. Yeah.
Yes. And so, with that, and these girls and guys that work with us, they like to have fun too and love making the videos. And it's just, again, like last week when a light started flickering in the bathroom, like, oh, well, now we can turn this into like, a disco, a disco room. But just having fun, because that's what people like. I mean, who doesn't want to, scroll through social media and see all the complaining and all those, those heavy things, and then be like, oh, well, then now here's these idiots, idiots making light of something that is, anyway, it's just having fun is a way better option than not.
Yeah. Your employees seem to really enjoy making the content, which as a marketing company, I've worked with these, these owners, and they struggle with getting their employees to want to participate in the content.
Right.
How's that been, and how do you do that? Like, how do you get them to do it?
Like I said, the universe just brought them to me. I mean,
they just enjoy it.
They just enjoy it. I mean, they do enjoy it. And I say over and over and over again, whether it's through marketing or, customers coming in, as, customer interaction. Yeah. My crew has a servant's heart, and they absolutely want to make you leave in better spirits than whenever you came in. Yeah, so they make it, they make it a point to.
So what's your advice for like hiring employees that really match who you are and who you want to be as a business?
You got your brand. First and foremost, of course, your brand. So you want to bring in people that are going to coordinate and go well with the brand. So, with our brand, outgoing and kind and, personable, and not only, that as far as the personality goes, I always look for a really, fun, outgoing personality with lighthearted. And then, then of course, there's the business side of it where you got to make sure that, they're qualified, to do the job, because it's fast. It's a very fast paced job, and it can get stressful. I mean, we've had a girl hit the floor one time during a Friday rush and had to call 911 because she had an anxiety attack. Love her to pieces. She's a friend of mine, and I told her after that she was quitting. It's like, you're not fired.
This isn't the right job for you.
Yeah, you're not fired, but you quit. So, and then once everybody gets together, and even if they're not, as outgoing and lighthearted as we are, once they get in there with us and see that, okay,
it kind of grows on them.
Yeah, because I'm a firm believer that you can have fun and get work done at the same time. So
I'm a very serious person, so
I am not at all. Like, I am a good time at a funeral in the hospital. Let me tell you.
I like to have a good time. I think it's hard for me. Like, I have a hard time having a good time because I'm like, I gotta get, like, I'm very focused and driven, and so it's hard for me to like break away from that.
Yes.
So when I do have fun, people are like, "Oh, she's having fun over there," because I tend to be such a more serious type of person.
Life can be so hard and so heavy, and you gotta find the light anywhere you can.
So let's talk about potholes.
Again, heavy. People are, you see on social media, yes, everybody's complaining about the potholes. They're there.
And they are terrible.
They are terrible. And, even if there's not a pothole, we're still taking a risk every single day going out on the roads, tearing up our car. It doesn't take just a pothole. And some hilarious person that has apparently the same personality I do put a flower pot in the pothole. Well, back when the pandemic broke loose, we had vacation plans to go to Panama City, Florida. That was our first time ever going to Florida. And so anyways, you know, we all got grounded. That sabotaged our vacation plans. So I had just got done working out, and I looked down my driveway and I see, this was in March during the pandemic, and I saw this water hole in my driveway. I grabbed my 6-year-old at the time. I put on my bathing suit. I grabbed my 6-year-old at the time. I run down there and I pose beside of it as if I'm laying out beside that water hole, you know, because that's my new beach since we can't go to Panama City.
Yeah.
And literally made a meme and posted it just for giggles on Facebook, because again, you know, during stressful times, and it exploded. It went viral like, I could not believe it. Sandals, resorts, everything. I end up on WSAZ News, everything. So anyways, when I saw this pothole on my way home from the shop with this flower pot in it, I was like, I gotta get out that bathing suit again. So I went home, threw on that bathing suit, grabbed my now 14-year-old daughter, who absolutely reluctantly, you know, because she was scared to death she was going to be seen. I was like, you're not going to be seen, because if we're going to be seen, we're running to the vehicle. I'm in my bathing suit. And so anyway, we went there and posed beside, she took the picture and I posted it. And hilariously, that pothole got filled that night because it was shared so many times. That pothole was filled by the next morning, and cracking up. So, I mean, like, but then it backfired on me, on my business, because the next morning, the entire north end of town was shut down because they were filling all the potholes. So that killed my morning rush.
Nobody came.
Nobody got out of the traffic line because
Well, you know what though? You saved your road.
Well, there's still a lot more potholes.
But I think that, not to get too much into politics, but I just want to say, like, whether you're on the left or you're whatever you believe, everyone does not. We can all agree the potholes here do suck.
Yes.
And so that was like
we're in rural
such
West Virginia.
Like a middle of the road statement of like, hey, we
Right.
all disagree. This is like, it's like different than protesting. We're all agreeing like, heck yeah, Amber, make them fill them potholes up.
And they did that night.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, maybe I should.
This is your new thing.
I'm this unpolitical person ever. Maybe I should get into a political position. But yeah,
do it in
funny.
a fun way. Yeah,
yes,
it was
yes,
great.
yes.
I love that.
It was so funny because the way the sun was setting, you were getting the sun beating in your eyes that evening when you were driving into town. So that flower kept getting ran over and because you couldn't see it. And but anyways, it was hilarious the next morning to go on the school drop off and see that pothole got filled in overnight.
Yeah, I bet that was like
can you imagine
pride in your heart.
Yeah, can you imagine those hearing like the phone calls like, y'all, there is a picture on Facebook that's getting shared 1 million times, get that pothole. Like, how many people did it take? How many phone calls were made? Yeah. And then that pothole be filled?
Yeah, how high up was it sent?
Exactly.
Until someone was like, okay, we got to fix this.
And I still don't know who put the flower pot in the pothole. Like, we need to meet.
Yeah, we need to find the flower. If you
put the flower pot, we need to be friends.
Yeah, let's talk. All right, getting back into a little bit more of business. Mm-hmm. What has been the hardest part of owning a business? Besides ruining your morning rush?
The hardest part about business is definitely, staffing. Mm-hmm. So, we talked about having the right staff and things like that. But, I think that's kind of like a generalized thing with all businesses right now is finding staffing. That's hard. It's... we're living in a time where everybody wants a job, but people don't want to work. So, finding adequate staffing and, that wants to work, that's hard. Inventory, having product and things like that, because during this growth period, we are going, you run out of things so much faster. Mm-hmm. So,
and then you had to buy it, so you had to put the capital into buying the inventory, but you don't have people you're not selling it right, right
yeah,
then.
because if it's sitting on your shelf, that's money on your shelf. So you don't want stuff that's going to sit. And so luckily I have learned from some very wise business people that have guided me and, kind of gotten a lot better at that as far as making sure it's not sitting and, getting it going. But then you're at the mercy of, getting shipped and things like that. So I would have to say that is definitely I mean, like the most stressful day-to-day stuff is, you know, if somebody calls in or, you know, emergency arises, which we all know happens. And then of course, you know, you never want to hear that you ran out of something because.
Yeah. Especially if it's a popular item or something.
Yes. Because if you run out of something, that's just bad business in
And
my
it's
opinion.
like, and you're losing sales, you're losing money by the minute.
Yep,
So.
it's bad business. And that's why I tell people, tell my staff all the time, like, we run out of something, that's just bad business. That's not a popularity thing. It's just, you got to be ready.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. What do you enjoy most about your business?
The fun part. I enjoy being around our crew. I enjoy being around the customers. I would 10 times rather be standing at that register taking orders and interacting with everybody than at home sitting behind the computer, because that's the not very fun part. It is fun to sit and, you know, do those creative outlets as far as, you know, the drink recipes and looking at what's trending and all those types of things. That is fun in itself. But at the end of the day, I would rather be in there amongst, because I'm such a people person, I'd rather be in the shop interacting with everybody.
With the customers and the people. Yeah, I love that. What advice would you give to someone who wants to start a business?
Okay, so I just spoke at Career Day at Point Pleasant High School, and I said every single classroom I went to, I said, if you want to own a business, you don't have to have a business degree. You don't have to have anything like that. I was like, you have to have a purpose. Because if you're going into a business because you automatically think it's because of the money, you're not going to succeed. You have to have a purpose first, and then the money will eventually come. You have to have patience, and you got to be willing to work hard. I mean, as long as you have a passion and you work hard and you got a purpose, the money will come. I all the time too, whenever, you know, somebody at the shop is getting upset because this business is doing this or this business is doing it, I'm like, no, like, we stay in our lane and we focus on what we do it well, and we watch the business come through the door. But first and foremost, a purpose.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I don't have a marketing degree. I didn't go to college at all. I went for like a semester, and then I was like, no, this isn't for me.
This sounds like me.
So I totally agree with you, and I learned everything off of YouTube and just trial and error and like learning and doing it on my own and figuring it out. And I'm a big like, I've always said this for like the last 8-9 years. I was like, you do not need a college degree, especially if you're doing business or if you're doing you know, obviously, if you're going to be a heart surgeon, you might want to. Right.
That's a little bit more.
But like, if you're like a creative person or you're running a business, like, there's no reason, like, spend those 4 years that you would go to college and spend that money learning a business, or, you know, you become an intern or ask someone to go under their wing and say, hey, can I watch you for 4 years, and use that as your college degree. I totally agree with what you said, because it's a big thing for me. People that know me, I talk about that all the time, about especially creatives. If you're an artist,
yes, absolutely.
Or if it's like, learn to just paint, just do the art then. You know, obviously you have to learn the skill, but there's just so much information out there right now. Like, you can go on YouTube and you can learn anything that you want to learn.
Absolutely.
So
I just told my son the other day to go on YouTube and figure out how to build me an outdoor fireplace.
I mean,
he could do it.
100%.
Yes. He's just wanting a summer job besides the shop. I'm like, learn how to do that, and I'll pay you to do it.
And just learning a skill. And what you also said, like, hard work, like, you can like start a business. It's pretty easy to just start an LLC and the legal part of it, but it takes hours. It takes a lot of work. Editing this podcast, like, I'm not getting paid to do this, right? Like, this is something I'm doing for my marketing, and just like the time you spend on your videos and the inventory, like, that's not the part you're getting paid for.
No, not
right?
at all.
Like, not at all.
We're still waiting to get paid.
Right.
Yeah, that's another thing is too. I was telling the kids at the high school, I'm like, you know, don't look at someone and think, especially young people, because we have teenagers ourselves, they automatically assume because someone has a business that they have money. No. If they have the business, they probably more than likely don't have any money, especially in the beginning. They're still poor. So I told those kids over and over again, every class, I'm like, expect to not get paid, and you know, again, that's where the patience comes in, and you've got to have that patience, because if not,
a lot of patience, a lot of hard work.
Yeah, because the ones that decide to throw in the towel, or as many times as I went to Steve and I was like, I'm done. You know, I mean, like, those are obviously the businesses at the end of the day are going to fail. So, you know, if you keep going, I mean.
Yeah, I wonder how, because like there's that statistic that says like most businesses will fail after 5 years. And I wonder how many of those businesses just said, like, just throw in the towel. And,
yeah, just throw in the towel. It's too much work. I mean, we just bought some used equipment the other day from a coffee shop. They were, you know, an older couple, and they did it for retirement, and they like, we're exhausted. You know, they were just open a few years, but it was a thriving business, but they were exhausted, and they were like, you know.
And even if you are making money, the work doesn't stop because you're like, you still got to.
You are on, you are working.
It's 24/7.
Every waking moment.
Me and Jen talked about that. It's just like that. It's a 24/7 job. You're going to, even if you, there's like some flexibility. Probably less so with a restaurant or a coffee shop because you have certain hours, but there is like flexibility. Like, I can leave and like go do this with my nieces or whatever.
A lot more now than there was definitely in the beginning. You know, when you're working from open to close every day.
But then when you're done with that, then at like from 5 to 9 p.m., you're like, at least I am. I'm like at least thinking about it.
It never goes away.
Yeah, I'm thinking of strategy. I'm thinking about how can I better serve my customers? How can I do X, Y, Z better? What am I doing wrong? You know what I mean? So like it's like a 20
superpowers.
Yeah,
that's what I'm like ADHD superpowers.
Yeah, it's like a constant. Even when the day is over, the day's not over.
Nope, never.
So
never.
That's
not until you fall asleep.
That's
when I clock out. Is when I fall asleep.
Yeah. That's when you stop thinking about it.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about motherhood. So you have children, and that's
a bunch.
That can be very difficult too, owning a business. I don't have kids, so I can't really relate to that. But a lot of the people that I've had on my podcast, they have children, and so I love to talk about just like the balancing of motherhood and business, and how that how challenging the challenges of that can be. So what does your life look like being a parent and owning a business?
When we went into this, besides the fact we wanted it to be a retirement project for Steve and I, we also wanted it to be a family business. So we want something that our kids can be a part of. So our kids are involved as far as coming in and working. I mean, our 16-year-old son, I mean, he is a paid employee. That's what he does to get his gas money and such. And then the others, are come in and help. I've got little girls that love to bake. So because our lives are so consumed with the shop, we have to make it, a family. And balance will never happen. That's never going to happen in life in general. I mean, that's somebody wants to achieve, and it's just stop, because you're not going to, because every day is different. And like I say, every time I have my ducks in a row, it doesn't.
One of them gets knocked over.
Yes, every single time. So every day is different. Our kids are very involved with sports. So, I guess you can say every morning is the same, because everybody gets up and, and does their thing and gets to school, but every day is different. Am I a super mom and super wife? Do I cook and clean and do all the things at home? Absolutely not. I mean, I don't have the time nor the desire. So I tell people, I'm like, we either eat from the shop or more than likely pizza. I wish that I could be that mom that has the meals prepared every single day. So that's the hard part about being a mom, and plus being a business owner, is that feeling of inadequacy. You're like, I'm not being a good enough mom because I'm putting too much energy into this. But then I'm like, okay, well, it's just, it's a give and take. You have to pour into each pot the best that you can. And I know at the end of the day, my kids show me so much grace. And that's why I tell other moms too that are struggling with, the inadequacy feeling. Like, when you don't show yourself grace, your kids are. And they're happy, they're healthy, and they're getting to do all the things and get to live their best life. So show yourself some grace if you don't have that meal prepared every single day, because 9 times out of 10, your kid would rather eat cereal anyways.
That's true. That is facts.
Yes.
You also fostered for a little while.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about that and that process and how that was.
So foster care was always something I always wanted to do. I always wanted to, have a child, get pregnant, go through the whole pregnancy thing to see, do that whole mother, pregnant. Overrated. Like, no, I'm okay, never doing that again. I always wanted to have one. And then after that, I wanted to adopt because here, especially in West Virginia, the need is so high for, foster parents and adoptive parents. So I always wanted to have one and then adopt after that. And it took 2 years of convincing my husband to pursue this venture. And it wasn't because he, did not want, another kid in our house or anything like that. It was guarding our hearts. He knew that there would be a lot of heartache through foster care, and he wanted to protect me, Owen, and then of course himself through that heartache. But he will hands down vouch that, even through all the heartache and through all the, that at the end of the, at the end of it, we've adopted 5 kids.
That's amazing.
Through foster care. Yeah, we were foster parents for about 10 years. And we have a set of twins that we got as infants, and they are now 11. We have Molly and Elsie, who are now 14 and 9, and they were 6 and 18 months when we got them. And then we have Jonathan that completed the family, and he came to us when he was 9, and he is 13 now. So we haven't fostered for a few years, but we're still really, passionate about it. And, I'm always like, I never encourage someone to be a foster parent because I don't know how their family operates behind closed doors. I don't know what someone else can take. I don't know how everybody operates, as a family unit. I just always am happy to share our story and lead them to where they want to go if they want to pursue that. But I will never encourage someone to say, you've got to do this, because it's not for everybody.
Yeah. And what makes you feel that way? Just because it's like a lot of work, or
all of the things. It's emotionally a roller coaster, because here you are and you have a kid and you're trying to advocate. There's lawyers and judges and all these other people that get to make the decision on that child that you're fostering, and you're the one that lives the day to day with them and goes through this with the child, but people that are not inside the home get to make the decisions about the child at the end of the day. So that's the hardest part of it. And people say all the time, I could never do that because I couldn't take losing a child. And my response to that is always the same. We all lose loved ones. We all have someone pass away and things like that. And I don't view it any different than a passing like that. And I'm like, what do we do when we lose a loved one? We mourn and we dust ourselves off and we go on, because we are needed, by other people, and we can't. So I tell people, I'm like, yeah, you say that, but I mean, it's not any different in my opinion than losing, a loved one.
And then you're making an impact too.
Exactly, because even if they're only with you for a few days, you've showed them a few days of
love and care.
That they
may have not had.
And so you hope, during that time that they're with you, that they can take something, take memories, good memories, and with them whenever they go.
My sister actually fostered someone.
Okay.
She was a teenager. She's 17, and now they still have a great relationship, and she's a huge part of both of our lives. I spend a lot of time with her too. So
that's awesome. Because teenagers are scary.
Yeah, trust me. My sister had her moments with her, but all it was an amazing experience for my sister, and obviously for me to be a small part of that too is really, really nice.
It's just like business. You got to have patience, and it's a lot of hard work, and I mean, it'll all work out one way or another.
Absolutely. What is your favorite thing about being a mom?
Whew, my favorite thing about being a mom.
Is there any? No, I was kidding.
I know. I got 3 teenagers. I'm like, I'll trade them in for babies any day of the week.
Really?
Yes. Whew, teens are hard this day and age.
Yeah.
The social media and all those things.
Is that what makes it hard? Is the social
Yes,
media?
because I feel like you can't even go to I can't even go to my mom to ask for, advice, because we are parenting in
it's
uncharted
different.
territory. Like these are, like,
Yeah, it's
they've
like
never
they
done
got
this before.
Snapchat.
Yes.
Your mom didn't have Snapchat.
No, like they don't have any.
She was worried about you not coming home after the lights came on.
Right, exactly.
Which is like a different thing.
It's totally different.
Because they got that Snapchat on their phone 24/7.
24/7. And parenting right now is so hard, because you can't shelter your kids. You can't, just I was thinking about the word grounding. We used to get grounded when we were kids. You can't ground a kid now. There's just, how? I don't understand. There's just not a way to ground them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, parenting is definitely very much a challenge. But my favorite part about being a mom is just watching the kids go through these seasons of life and watching them grow up and seeing their individual interests and personalities, and trying to mold them into being, good, kind. I tell my kids all the time, I just want them to be kind and work hard.
I
That's
love
it.
that.
That's
be kind
it.
and work hard.
Just be kind and work
I
hard.
like that.
Yes.
I might be serious, you might be fun, but we got same vibes.
Yes. I'm like, don't.
That's like my favorite. I love that.
Just be kind and work hard. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you'll succeed in life.
Yeah, and definitely like just, I think being kind, like working hard's obviously a big thing, but like everyone is dealing with something that you have, like you literally don't know someone's life. And we've all been there where we haven't been kind because we're humans, but at the end of the day, it's like, man, when you're just kind to someone, and then like maybe a week later you hear about what they were going through or something, you're like, I'm very glad that even though they had an attitude with me, I was still nice to them, because you just don't know what people are going through.
That's my shop.
That's
my
amazing.
shop.
I love that.
That's my purpose.
Yeah.
Is to provide some kindness and some good, like, I don't know any other way of showing love to someone other than, serve them good coffee and some good food and some kindness, and their day is made.
Yeah, and some fun.
Yes, exactly. Laugh while they're,
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen in that place. I swear you don't.
You should just like set up a camera on the,
Gosh, yes.
like a security camera or
yes.
something.
Well, yeah, and then they'll send me videos of things that they've done. I'm like, no, that can't go. No. Like one was sent to me earlier, with a brown sugar shake and espresso, and the shaken was not friendly for the business social media page.
Oh no.
Like I said, we have fun.
Yeah, that's good. Last question. That's my favorite question to ask. Mothers who are entrepreneurs. What is your morning routine?
Well, mine's pretty boring because I have a rock star husband. Steve and I have always, through our, like I said, we're almost been married for 18 years. We have always been equal partners, 50-50. That man has probably changed more poopy diapers than I have, because he's such a wonderful, like, this is going to be like an ad for him, don't be coming to, but this perfect.
He's my husband.
He's my husband. Don't come for him, but he really is the perfect. I've never been a morning person. Yes, I own a coffee shop, but I'm not a morning person. Never have been. So if I'm not already up in the shop or where I need to be before the kids get up, my hind end's in bed. And luckily the kids are now old enough that they can get themselves up and get themselves dressed. And Steve goes around and wakes everybody up. Then he usually gets right back in bed while they all get themselves together and they all pile in the vehicle and they go to school. It's not anything exciting. Most mornings I'm actually usually up and gone before they ever get up. But on the mornings that I'm not,
You're in bed.
My husband's in bed, and I have a saint of a husband that he is a morning person, luckily.
How important has that been, like, to growing a business and being a mom, like having a supportive partner?
He supports all my crazy ideas and dreams. That's been probably one of the biggest blessings in my life, is that he does support those things. I say he's the calm to my storm. The other day I gave him a new idea to help grow the business, and he's like, that's not the worst bad idea you've ever had. No. And,
You've had worse.
Yeah, you've had worse. You know, I didn't, you know, ask for a goat or anything, but
Yeah.
even though I do. But you know, if it wasn't for him, you know, providing that support for me, and you know, we wouldn't have what we have today. So, like I said, I'm full of all these ideas, and I run 100 miles a minute, especially in my mind. And then he's here to help strategize and be the person that takes care of he's the man behind. He's IT. He is the financial. He is when something's broke down, he's the one that's fixing it. He is that person that keeps the machine running, and he's learning too, because he's an engineer. You know, he's an engineer. He's not a business owner, accountant, or any of these things.
Yeah.
So we're both learning together, and but
amazing.
yeah, he's the guy in the background that keeps the machine running.
That's amazing. I love that. Is there anything else that you want to talk about, or you want to plug?
I mean, I just encourage anybody that wants to pursue anything, whether it's business, foster care, any venture that you have passion for and you have a purpose, go for it, because you don't have to. There's that mold there. That's what I was telling those kids during career day. You know, you have people in your life that tells you you've got to do this, this, and this, and that's, if it's not what's going to bring you joy, don't do it, because life is short but can be long all at the same time.
And if you love what you do, then it's hard work, but it doesn't feel like work all the time.
Right.
It feels like you're doing something you love. So
absolutely,
and you're willing to
providing
put the
service.
time.
You know, you're providing a service for the. You know, I want to provide service and experience for the community, and like I told you before, you know, we want people to feel better when they leave us than what they did when they came in.
I love that. I think that's a perfect note to end on. That's the end of the podcast. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.